Skebo Manor has stood here in Roslagen for over 250 years, a place full of history, beauty, and some forgotten corners. As the drone rises, we pass the manor house, carefully restored over the past few years with love and care. But just beyond it, hidden among the trees in the English park, lies a little wooden building most have never seen. The Swiss hut. Once a charming park destination, now barely holding on. Weather, time, and neglect has taken their toll, and we may be its last chance. In today's episode, we'll take you inside and share the story and ask for your help to save this piece of history before it disappears forever.
So here it is, the shed, or not really a shed, but that was what we thought. It was not even mentioned in the prospect when we bought this place.
It's not a shed, it's a Swiss hut.
It's a Swiss hut,
Obviously,
know now.
It's a Swiss hut. Can't you see it? Well, it used to be a Swiss hut. Anyways. But no longer, I should say.
It's seen its better days.
This thing has been falling apart for decades. And I think that accelerated whenever that was, a tree fell.
Yeah.
On top of the roof. So now, not only is it being attacked from the outside, it's also being attacked from the inside. Which is, of course, not good at all.
Yeah, it is a shame.
We've done some surgery just to keep it from falling apart even more, or in an even more rapid pace, because all of this wants to tip out and tip over. So we've put in these, but that'll only last so long because it's rotting away from the inside, which is bad.
We're at the far end of our park. This is an English landscape park in which several houses and pavilions were situated along a path. You were supposed to walk around and see different things at the far end, and it was an experience. And this was the main attraction, the main destination. So you could see this from the house.
And we should probably say that the park wasn't open to the public, obviously. This was something that the Lord of the Manor invited distinguished guests to come enjoy.
Exactly.
And so you would walk around on these gravel paths in your nice clothes and your hats, and probably a cute dog, and stroll around. And once you came up to one hill and one vista, you saw another one, and you would go from one point to the next and just explore the space.
Yes. So after visiting this little hut a few times when we moved in, we realized it was not a shed because we could see pictures and paintings from inside of this Swiss hut when it was at its best. And we can see that the details was still there. So this is the existing Swiss hut. It has not been torn down and rebuilt at some point. It is the exact one, but of course been falling apart piece by piece since then.
So the whole point of a Swiss hut, in Sweden it's called a Schweizeri, is basically a Swiss pastry shop. That was the idea, at least. It was sort of an imported idea from Switzerland at the time. And the lord of the manor could have his servants serve up basically coffee, tea, cognac, and pastries for a nice cup of tea at this place with his guests.
Is that how they invented the Swedish term fika? Was that the Swiss?
Could be. a nice pause during the day. The whole place was and is situated away from the house. It's actually turned facing away from the manor as well. So the point is that you should be sitting here on the porch or the veranda, looking out over the lake, not looking back to the house. So you wanted to give your guests a whole different experience from that of the manor house.
It feels important to restore this historical building and not let it just fall down. That would be the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
If we're the ones who didn't do what had to be done.
Exactly. I mean, we're not responsible for decades of neglect.
No.
We're not responsible for the tree falling over it and no one doing anything about it at the time. But we do own the place currently, and we'd hate to see it go.
Yeah, because then it's gone forever.
Then it's gone forever, exactly. But we need capital and help because it's going to be expensive to save it.
Unfortunately, yes.
And we have to feed our kids. So we have to make priorities, as does anyone. And our priority is to try and save it. And we're trying to figure out how to. But we need your help.
Yes.
As much of it as humanly possible. So what we've done is that we've set up a Buy Me a Coffee page. There should be a link down below where a QR code that you can just scan with your phone to get to the site. And there should also be links in the episode description of this episode.
And how does that work? So you take off your phone, you scan the...
Exactly, you scan the QR code with your phone.
Yes.
It'll take you to the page, the Buy Me a Coffee page.
Yeah.
And you can buy a coffee. I think one coffee is $5.
Oh.
You can buy one, you can buy 10 or 1,000, whatever your heart desires.
Everything helps though.
Everything helps.
Everything helps.
All of the raised money
so
for
happy.
that will go towards saving this Swiss hut.
Yes.
Hopefully. And I guess now's the time to do it, because in wintertime we can't really work. Now we can get the proper machinery in, it's warm enough, and you can actually see what you're doing without the snow covering it. So there's a limited amount of time, and I'm not sure that this thing will survive another winter.
Another winter, no.
I don't think so. So we're trying to get this done. And if you cannot help out money-wise, if you're a Swedish tradesperson, if you know anything about timber, lumber, carpentry, these historical details, if you know anything about the paint schemes, the paint, windows, trims, doors, anything, and you'd like to help out in one way or another, please let us know.
The style of the Swiss hut is very, very detailed. First of all, it's all in wood. I guess Switzerland had a lot of wood. And you can see over here that the amount of details around the windows, at the roof, and at the front with the veranda have nice curves. They have these nice patterns. And it's very, very detailed. And this was a style that was very popular around the turn of the century, the last turn of the century. And many villas around Stockholm also had inspiration from this Swiss architecture.
The Swiss style emerged in the 19th century, inspired by rural wooden houses in Switzerland. These buildings featured decorative timber details, exposed beams, and steep gabled roofs with wide overhangs. The style reflected a romantic ideal, one shaped by Rousseau's philosophy and a growing fascination with Switzerland's natural beauty and democratic values. As travelers flocked to Switzerland in the late 1700s, Swiss architecture began influencing buildings across Europe. In the Nordic countries, early examples appeared in parks. By the 1840s, the design had spread to cafés and pavilions known as Schweizeri, with wide eaves, carved wood brackets, and the charming jodeler balconies. Rich in fretwork, and what Swedes call snickarglädje, the style ranges from modest verandas to ornate villas with towers. And while true Swiss style was rare in Sweden, pattern books helped spread its influence, blending it with villas and Renaissance styles in a way that still defines part of Sweden's wooden architecture today.
lot of the details have actually survived because these guys weren't playing around back in the day. They used some really good lumber
Yeah.
and some really good wood. And it's actually stood the test of time. The house itself is fine, basically. The walls are actually fine structurally.
Okay, just pause. Fine. The house is fine. Okay. I don't think everyone agrees with you, but sure, yes, they use great lumber.
Yeah, so structurally what's happened is that whenever that tree fell over the roof trusses caved. And when that caved, one of the longer side walls started caving out because it no longer had a roof truss system holding it together. That's the purpose of those trusses, to balance the force from the roof down through the walls and down into the foundation. And whenever the roof became open to the elements, it started raining and snowing and whatever down on the floor, and the floor and the subfloor and the foundation started giving away over decades as well. We'd like to salvage as much of these as possible, and that is possible because it's wood. And you can always save wood, especially wood of good quality such as this.
Otherwise, we have a template to create new moldings.
Of course. And we have a sawmill a couple of minutes away. So whatever shape, form, or otherwise that we had to recreate, we can recreate.
Cool.
So in terms of getting this project funded, there are different state grants and local grants and support organizations that you can apply to. And we've applied to all of them. We've also gotten rejections from all of them. Go figure. So what's left is what we're now trying to do, namely the Buy Me a Coffee project. Maybe it'll work, fingers crossed. Maybe it won't, and that'll be the end of it. But we're gonna give it one last go. Come on, you guys.
There were a double door at the middle of the building, and it was leading out to a veranda, and this is the base for that part, which is still here but needs work. And then it led out, to this step. This is the base of where there were 2 staircases, one on that side and one on the other side leading down. So you can stand here and have a fantastic view of the lake. And the steps led down to a little path. I think it was a gravel path down here, and it was the same on the other side, so I think it was symmetrical. And then there was a little planting bed in the middle, and everything looked so sweet and nice looking. So we're not just gonna save the house, we're gonna, of course, do the path and that little planting bed as well.
We got nowhere to be, just a slow dance with the summer heat. The world outside can't wait a few, 'cause right now we got nothing else to do. The sun is peeking through the cotton white blinds, your hands still tangled up in mine. Feet on the wall, your head on me, floating easy.
So we're not going to walk in here because one, I've actually boarded this place up, and the previous owners have boarded this up for obvious reasons. It's a security measure to not have kids run around in here because it's structurally not sound, and you don't want that collapsing on your head. With that said, it's pretty amazing how intact this is. You can actually see some remnants of different colors. You can see some remnants of, I guess, lettering. You can see some of the paint schemes on the window trim. You can see the brown color on the sort of baseboard. It's pretty amazing. You can actually see, I'm not sure if that's visible, you can see some original hooks hanging from the beams as well, probably to hold some lights or lamps up. It's pretty cool. So aside from the obvious things that we need to do, such as reinstating windows and getting the porch back and so on, structurally what we think needs to be done is you need to lift off the entire roof and these trusses. Some of them are broken and need to be replicated, and some perhaps can be saved. In any case, to work on the walls, you need to remove the roof. And then once you've done that, you can realign the walls, which I think are fine, at least 3 out of 4. And then you need to push this wall back and probably make some new beams to make it structurally sound again. And in order to do that, you need to lift off the entire porch, which I'm now standing under because this thing is wanting to fall out. So there's a lot of stuff to do, and you probably need a crane, and you probably need a few guys doing that type of work. It's certainly not something that we can do ourselves with 3 kids, a cat, and bats in the park. We need some help. We need all the help we can get. And we probably also need someone who's proficient enough with large size timber, which we need to work with here, both in the foundation and in the structural elements of the house. So let's just tell the audience, aside from the historical significance of saving the Swiss hut, what will we use it for if we manage to save it?
If we manage to save it. Well, to start with, we do weddings here.
Yes.
So maybe that could be a spot where you have a ceremony, or you have a little mingle area, or it could be the backdrop for a photo shoot.
Wedding cocktails at the Swiss hut.
Oh, that would be lovely.
And then we could go back to doing tours. We don't have many of these Swiss huts left in Sweden. I think there's only like a handful at different castles placed around Sweden. Most of these have gone away for obvious reasons. So if we manage to save it, it's an obvious point of exploration for people interested in the field.
Absolutely.
Students, organizations, whatever. Anyone interested in finding that out. So
tours. Good idea.
Exactly.
Good idea.
And we can do some intimate summer concerts.
Oh.
I was going to say I can play the violin. I don't know how to do that. I can play the guitar though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash.
Plays in Wonderwall. In any case, guys, there's 1,001 different causes and purposes of saving the Swiss hut. So if you're inclined to do so and help us with it, please consider it.